Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to six figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse, turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. I am so excited to welcome Megan Yelaney to the podcast. She's a bit of a serial entrepreneur like I am. She's got 3x business owner, having brought in over $3 million in less than 5 years in her latest business. She serves over 1,000 clients and has helped over 5 clients reach that $1 million mark. She focuses primarily on helping online coaches and course creators brand and market their business by harnessing what makes them most memorable, buyable, and obsessible, which I absolutely love. She's also a wife, a singer, host of the Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur podcast. She's a fur mom to mini golden doodle Luna, and soon to be twin mom. What's up? Welcome.
I really packed that in there. I was like, let's share every part of my life.
I love it. I love it. And I love just watching. I've been following you for years now when I first heard about you. And so I love seeing Luna on the stories and now this twin journey. I've just enjoyed just seeing your real life. You're so real on, social and putting it out there of it's not always pretty and I can be awkward and I can be who I want to be and show up and be successful. And I think that's just such a powerful message that we all just need to be constantly reminded of over and over and over again. So I'm glad that we're going to dive into this particular topic today.
Me too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I would not have the business I had today if I tried to be perfect or someone else. That has been the secret to my success, honestly. And I know it sounds like whenever people say be yourself, it's how do I do that? And so I'm excited to kind of give people a formula to literally be themselves, which is fun.
Yes. Yeah. I said before, I'm the one thing that I did was I basically tried to be everyone else. And then whatever felt really weird and awkward, I was okay, that's definitely not me. Right. Yeah. And then the parts that were oh, okay, this feels comfortable and it feels aligned. I was okay, this is the direction I need to go. So I think it was kind of trying to copy because I didn't know what I was doing right in the beginning. And it was if that feels hard and not sustainable, that's not you. And don't move forward with that piece of it.
100%. Yeah. I think we all do that copy first. And we have to, I literally, when I was in network marketing, would copy someone's post, put it in a Google Doc. I was told to do this, copy the top coaches and then go in and edit it. So it's yours, right? It never worked. Even with all the editing, I'm this isn't getting me anywhere. Okay. Maybe we need to explore because this strategy is not working.
Yeah. And I love that. And a lot of the audience here, some are network marketers, we've got coaches. So yeah, I love that. And we kind of bonded over that our background has been network marketing and that really kind of into this space of this entrepreneurial space. And then you launched your own wellness company, which actually, funny enough, I don't talk about this very much, but Claire and I also started a wellness course. We launched it one time and then we were no.
You're not for us.
And then a year later launched the next business and that was successful. And now this. So it's our paths, our journeys have been fairly similar. So we've connected a lot on that. So I know that what you have to share is going to be incredibly relevant for everyone out there listening because we've got the network marketers, the coaches, the service providers. So
great.
Let's just dive in. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Talk about, your unique method to standing out and kind of that framework, because that's what's really important. We kind of touched on a little bit of being yourself and standing out. But I think that in this, it's getting worse and worse in terms of the masses are showing up and a lot of people are doing something similar to you. So it's now so important, more important than ever to be able to stand out, but in your own unique way. So I'm excited to dive in and kind of hear your strategy behind it.
Yeah, no, me too. 100%. It's like now more than ever, we need this. And it's funny because I'm like revamping the course that this comes from and all of that, because I'm like, wow, we need this more than ever now. Our attention spans are so short. People like are scrolling, especially if you're on TikTok or Reels, like a blip has to catch your attention. And it really is by being yourself. So this is a 3-part framework. And before I dive in, I'll just kind of explain how I like came up with this. I think everyone, when they have a framework, it's accidental. I haven't really met anyone who's like, I intentionally did this step first and then second. It's like you have success and you go, how did that happen? Was that a fluke? And then you repeat it and you have clients go through it and you're like, okay, no, this isn't a fluke. This actually works. And I kind of had this like, I think like everyone did in 2020, what am I doing with my life and business, moment. Things were going so well. It was a great year for the online space, but I was also feeling like something was missing and I wasn't really sharing my secret sauce, my unique method, which is helping other people find theirs. I wasn't sharing it publicly so much, but I was doing it behind the scenes with clients. And so I had a day, and I recommend everyone doing this. If you have had clients have like breakthroughs, a lot of success, write down all of their names, like maybe not all of them, but pick your top 3 clients. And next to their name, write out what was that like aha or breakthrough moment that they had in your coaching. And it might be a multitude of moments that led up, like a compound effect kind of thing, but write down what that was and what maybe like tool or resource or process you took them through to help them have that breakthrough, because you're going to probably notice similarities. You might even notice all of them, all 3. It was the same thing. It was a very similar breakthrough. It was a very similar process. I did that. I actually did that. And I was like, let me look through my favorite clients and write this down. And every single one, and these were actually the millions that we talked about. They're the ones who went on to build $1 million businesses, which is pretty cool. They all had something really unique about them that they leveraged to stand out online. And it wasn't unique in this way that's like they're a unicorn, right? Because it had to be something people connected with. And if you're so unique that no one in your audience can relate, that's not going to land either, right? So I just always like to say that because people there's nothing unique about me. I'm just boring and do the same thing every day. So do I. And people still find me unique in a way that stands out, but that they connect with. So that's kind of how I came to figure this out. So I just recommend doing that yourself because it was so eye-opening. So the 3-part framework, the first part, and stop me anytime if you want to like ask questions or anything for any of these parts too. The first part is finding out what I call your unique approach. I call it coach approach, but you don't have to be a coach to use this. And we do have a really great quiz I know we're gonna talk about later that actually helps you find what your approach is. And after working with so many people, I've realized there's kind of 4 main approaches. I'm sure there's many more, but we got to simplify it. There's the strategic approach, which means when someone comes to work with you, you really take a strategic approach to problem solving. Like if they're like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling, haven't reached my goals, I'm having this issue, you go, okay, let's look at the plan. Let's look at the strategy. What did you do right? Did you follow it to a T? If you did, let's reverse engineer what we could change. You're just problem solving mode right away. If you have the second approach, which is the mindset approach, instead of jumping right to what went right, what went wrong, you're like, okay, let's calm down. Let's take a step back. Let's think through the thoughts that got you here. Let's take a breath. And you really like give a little bit of space for them to kind of be talked off the ledge before you dive into strategy. The third approach is more aspirational. And this is someone who's very much about like energy, embodiment. You hear this a lot in the online space, which sometimes irks me, but that's just my own thing, is like pay to be in my energy kind of thing, right? I'm sure you've heard that and see that before. Like people just when they're in someone's energy, they really do make changes. And I think that's legit and true. But with the aspirational approach, they really help their clients like act as if something's already happening. They help them really with confidence and they start taking actions and doing things that really they need to have that success, even before they do, right? They act like they're that $1 million earner, that 6-figure earner, whatever it is. And so that's the third. And then the fourth one is more of the spiritual approach. And this is it could be spirituality in general. It could be specific religion. It doesn't have to be, it's whatever that means to you. I've had clients who have this approach who literally will pray with clients before calls, who will bring out tarot card decks as they're coaching their clients. Like it's really cool. So those 4 approaches are all so different. And when I'm teaching this, I usually use a business coach as an example for all 4. So they technically, all four are being hired to help someone with their business. The end goal is make more money, sign more clients, build a successful business. But the approach that each of those people take is so completely different. So right there, you're going to stand out from all the other people who have different approaches than you. And that's what I love about it, is you don't have to like pretend you're this super strategic person when maybe you're like 50% strategy, but you're a lot of that mindset. That's what's going to set you apart from that like 99% strategic person. And then flip flop, I actually have a really close friend who's like 99% strategic. She kept thinking she had to do mindset work. And she's like, I hate it. I don't want to do it. I'm not qualified to do it. And I just feel so uncomfortable. And I'm like, you don't have to. Like, they can go somewhere else for that as long as you're really clear what they're going to get and what they're not going to get. So that's the biggest thing with this first part, is it helps you stand out right away. Two, it helps you just attract clients who are really aligned about your method. Like, if you're going to, for example, whip out a tarot card deck, which I've had spiritual coaches I've worked with do, they don't be okay with that, right? Otherwise it's like, what's happening? What are you doing? Or if you start praying, right? They have to know what your approach is and be like, I'm all about that. Yeah. And so it'll help you sign more aligned clients who are all about your method, open to your methods. And honestly, it just helps you, like we're talking about, show up so much more fully because you're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're leaning in to your natural abilities. Does that first part make sense?
Yeah, absolutely love that. And I was trying to think through, like, of course I'm going to take the quiz when we're done. Yeah. But think through of like, what do I think I am? And I was like, oh, I'm definitely strategy. And then you said mindset. I was like, ooh, but I'm a little mindset too. Yeah. And then what was the third one?
The third, and they kind of are, I just put them in that order for some reason. They're not necessarily always listed on that order. Aspirational and then spiritual.
Okay. And I'm getting a little bit more into the spiritual, probably not like open, like with my clients, but like I'm learning more about it. Totally. So like I'm bringing some methods that like they might not recognize, but like giving me tools and tricks. So that's very fascinating. Very interesting.
I love that. I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's like a big disclaimer I make before I really dive into teaching this, which I forgot to do, is you're probably going to feel like you're all four in some way. You're like, wait, it's like the Enneagram. Like whenever I hear the Enneagrams, I'm like, I'm everyone. I'm all 9, and it's like, no, I'm not actually, but you lean towards one. So I always say like, I'm like 30-ish% strategy and then really 70% mindset, even though I'm a business coach technically, but that's my approach. Right. And so every business coach has strategy. You have to, obviously. Yeah. So I think just that it's really great you said that, because everyone's going to feel that when they take the quiz.
Yes. But the quiz is probably going to tell you like your most dominant.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That you can lean into. Love it. Cool. So once you figure that out, the second part, which is really a fun part, and I recommend actually spending time on this, because this is something I feel like we did as little kids, but is really, what is your unique personality? And if you're building a personal brand, more so, but honestly, even if you're not building a personal brand, if you're building a brand that doesn't show your face, this is going to matter too, right? It's every single brand has some kind of personality. And I always like to list out like Oprah, Nike, Apple, like they all have such distinct feels and energies. Like you immediately think of something when you think of Nike and Oprah and Apple, right? And so I kind of want you to think of brands that you love and what are some words that come to mind, like right away, personality traits, energies. Like, do you feel motivated? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel like calm and nurtured? Like, what is the kind of vibe that you're getting from them? So that's what you're going to do with your personality, because you could have a mindset approach, but have like a really humorous personality. So a lot of your content is going to be like sarcasm and GIFs and memes. And like, you're going to lean more into that, right? Or maybe you're like super heartfelt, you're very compassionate. You'll probably lean more into storytelling. So the personality piece is going to be really important. So what I recommend doing is literally asking the people in your life and almost sending out like a survey and asking them like, what do you think of when you think of me? What are some words that come to mind? Like the top 3. What colors do you think of when you think of me? What words, what phrases? When I did this, actually, I think I asked like what cities or countries, like what energy, comes to mind. Things like that. And I recommend too, when you're sending this out, send it to current clients, past clients, people who said no to you, which that might be uncomfortable, but I still recommend doing it because we want to know, and they might have said no because they just weren't ready and it's nothing to do with you. That's usually the case, right? But we want to know kind of like, was there anything they perceived that were like, oh crap, that's not what I wanted people to think or to get across? Because sometimes we're putting out something and let's say it's a piece of content and we are going for inspirational and really it's like they're taking it as offensive or something, right? I'm using an exaggerated example. So doing these like surveys and asking friends, family, current clients, past clients, people who haven't signed up with you, anyone, colleagues, whatever it is, you'll really get to understand like what is the vibe you're putting out and what is the vibe you want to put out and does it match? And if it doesn't, then you can go, man, I don't think I'm being myself. Like there's some mask up here and I need to do more of that. And when I did this was back in 2017 when I started to branch out of network marketing. I started to do this. I sent this survey out and I had so many people say something along the lines of like girl next door, compassionate, friendly, quirky, funny, the pretty awkward vibe, right? And I look at my content and I'm like, nothing is reflected on this. Like my content is not reflecting any of that. I'm trying to be so professional and like look like all the other coaches. You know what I mean? I was like, there's some real disconnect. Maybe that's why nothing's landing. Yes. And that totally changed the game. So that's like really the second piece. And just if you stopped right there, those two pieces, the approach and your personality, right there, you're going to start standing out more than anyone else who's not doing this. So that's the second.
And I think that kind of like circles back to what I said at the beginning in terms of like trying to be other people, right? And like being able to lean into who you actually are. And in the beginning, you know, I was following Amy Porterfield and then I was like, well, I'm kind of like, I'm helping people with courses too. Like, you know, but I'm not her. Like I can't be her. And I almost saw it as like this negative aspect that like, oh, I could never be as successful as her because I can't be her. And it's like, whoa, like that's backwards. Like that's the magical part. Like, yeah, you might be teaching similar things, but you're not in true competition because you're not like that. Right?
Exactly.
You're not that like super professional buttoned up, but like everything looks all put together. Like I'm so much more, not to say she's not real, but like love her. But like I am just very like showing the bloopers and, you know, just being myself and laid back and like open about like I make mistakes and, you know, whatever. And I just, when I see her, it's just very buttoned up. And so it's like, yes, leaning into that. And I love the comment that you said about the people that said no to you and ask them, because not only could you maybe see where maybe you're not showing up as yourself, but also maybe they can validate the fact that you really are showing up as yourself and they're just not the right client for you. And you're like, okay, yeah, perfect. They wanted someone that was a lot more, you know, professional. Maybe they didn't make grammar mistakes. Like that's the thing. I'm like, guys, I can't spell. Like you're going to find an email, you know, something. And so like, if they can't handle that, then that's okay. But then you can get that validation of like, okay, no, I am showing up and it's okay. Some people are going to leave and go find that other person and that's okay. So I love that tip.
Yeah, 100. I couldn't agree more. It's you hit the nail on the head with the clients who said no. You'll feel even better about the no because you'll be like, oh yeah, there's nothing I could do to change that because we're just not a good fit. We're not going to be a good fit with everyone. So I love that. That was a really good point.
Not that long ago doing a webinar and modified some of the webinar and whatever. And it's like, and I say in the very beginning of the webinar, like at the end of this, I will be inviting you to move forward with me. And so like want to be transparent and clear. So we're going to talk about the program throughout. And I always send out a survey to get feedback on like, what did people like? What did they not like? And all of it. And it just gets some valuable insights. And someone did comment like, it felt salesy kind of throughout. And it was like, well, I told you that's, you know, I was going to be talking about this program. And then she was like, but I guess it was a free webinar. So And it's like, you know what? Like, And my old self would have been like, oh my gosh, I have to change the whole webinar because this person thought I was being salesy. And, you know, but she was the only person that said that out of, you know, the massive people that filled it out. So I was like, my new self is like, okay, valid feedback and probably not the right customer because I'm teaching you how to sell. And if you're uncomfortable. And so it's like, I've just grown so much and learned so much more that it's like, she probably has a mindset issue and blocks around sales.
Exactly.
So anything that someone's trying to sell, she's like, has her guard up.
100%.
And so,
Yeah.
so it's not me. No one else said that. If the masses were like, oh, gross, like, still, like, oh, okay, gotta take a look at this.
100%. I think we do that when like we have clients just go through our programs. Everyone has had clients go through their programs that don't see success. Like if someone says they have 100% track record, they're just lying. Know that it's not ever has happened. And you could do everything in your power. And I've had clients like almost completely change their program for one person. And I'm like, wait. The other 30 people in your program had amazing results, or maybe it's like 5 to 25. Did they really show up? Were they actually the right client? Like there's so many factors. Do not change what is like pretty perfect for that, right? We always look at the negative comments and focus on that versus the hundreds of positive comments. It's so wild that we do that.
They're so much louder, right?
Yeah.
They seem so much louder. So you get 2 emails in your inbox and you're like, oh, everyone is having a hard time. You're like, wait, how many people?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
2.
There's only 2. There was only 2. Okay.
Exactly. It really puts it in perspective. And I love that you said that because I'm like, I've experienced that to this day still. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever stop experiencing that. I can snap out of it way quicker, but I'm like, it's just a human nature. So it's not something like we'll probably ever fully get over. So yeah, you're not alone if you're experiencing that. I love it. Awesome. So then there's just the third part I'll kind of close up with. The third part is really identifying and getting super clear on your expertise. Obviously, some people like to call it niching, whatever word you want to use. But instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, especially if you're in your first few years or scaling to like 6, multiple 6, I feel like after that, you have, I don't want to say the right to expand, but kinda. And as this is something like I personally experienced, I worked with so many clients who experienced once they were able to like really solidify who they're helping, how they're helping them, and be known for that expertise, their business boomed and in combo with the approach and the personality. And after a while, then they were able to slowly expand. And I know it's like something we so resist in the beginning because we want to help everyone. We have so many skills. We have so many things we could do. And it's like, I get it totally. But if you are trying to help everyone, it's that old saying, you're going to end up helping no one. So when you can really get specific, like, I'm an expert in email marketing. I'm an expert in unique coaching development. I'm an expert in branding or website design, or even within website design, maybe it's just on Kajabi website design. Like if you can get really clear on like what expertises you are just such a pro at. If Chrissy asked you to be on her podcast, what would you talk about? Right? I always say that, like, what is that one topic that you're like, this is my jam. I know I could talk about this all day long. That's what I would really hone in on. And then when you combine that with the approach, with the personality, it's going to be rare someone's going to have the same exact 3 as you, but they're not so out of left field that your audience won't connect with it because your audience needs that approach, right? They're about that approach. They'll have similar personality traits. Let's just say it's humor or sarcasm. I like using it as an example. They're also humorous. They're also sarcastic. Then they're going to be like, ooh, I like this person. I just like them as a person. And then, ooh, they have that expertise. I need to learn about email marketing. I need to learn about launching. I need to learn about sales, right? Whatever it is. And so that combination, like you become the go-to person for them that they will literally save up to work for. They will get on the wait list. They will not work with someone else. They'll wait until they can work with you. So it's kind of like that beautiful trifecta that I've found that really works for a lot of people.
Yeah, the niching down is like a lot of people really struggle with that.
Yeah.
And that is 100% a key piece to it. And it makes everything so much easier. Like you think it's going to be harder. You're like, the fear behind it is, I'm not going to have any customers. Like I have to find these very specific people, but it allows you to let those people find you. And I love that you're like, what would you go speak on the podcast about? When I, here in the last year, I joined this women's kind of networking group, and at the beginning, we'd all go around in a circle and we'd share like what we did. And there was 5 girls in the circle that shared what they did, and they were all very different. One person helped with weight loss. One person helped with postpartum, something other. One person helped with skin. And I would have thought like, oh, like they have their own thing. Come to find out they were all in the same network marketing company.
Oh, wow.
But they all had these very specific niches. And I was like, that is amazing. Yes, because if I just, I sell wellness products, 5 different people who sell wellness products, if I found someone who wanted that, I'd be like, I don't know who to send you to. But it's like, okay, this person focuses on the weight loss journey. This person focuses on postpartum, whatever. And then this person is skincare. If someone's like, I need help with my skin, I'd be like, perfect, go see Mary. Right. And so like having that very specific niche also puts you in a lot of people's heads. So like you're the first recommended person to like go to. Right.
I love that. I think that's such a cool example. They're all selling the same products at the end of the day, but their lead in is different. And just for network marketers listening, like if I could go back in time, and I did this near the end of my network marketing career, which did take off. And I was like, oh, I should have done this from the beginning. Like that's what you should do, is instead of like using the templates that the company gives you and just marketing every single product. I was in Beachbody. And so every like few months they'd have a new workout program. And I remember Body Beast came out, which was like this bulking program for like muscle, build real great muscle. I mean, you could build lean muscle too. It's not just for bulking. It's actually a really great program. And I just was like, this is so not me. Like the guy who represented the program was like this big, beefy guy. And I followed rules. I promoted it. And I was like, I'm going to get no one to sign up for this. This feels so weird. I should have just not promoted it. Like I didn't have to promote every single program. So I love that. I think for network marketers, that's especially smart, because then it's not about the product, right? It's about the transformation. It's about like what they actually want to experience. And you can be that go-to person. That's really cool.
Yeah. And if you're struggling to figure out like what your niche is, just think about your story and your journey, with products or, any of that, like which product line in your company was the one that like made the biggest transformation, or which one do you have the biggest transformational story with? And so you're likely very passionate about that. It was like they used their products for gut health, like had horrible gut health or whatever. So like she's focusing on specifically gut health. And I'm like, that's perfect. That's helping you stand out from so many other people. Yep. You probably feel a lot more confident talking about that area as opposed to like promoting the kids' products and you have no kids. It's like, leave that behind. If someone comes in because of the gut health and they have kids, you can then introduce them to that. But like lean with your strength and what your story is. And even not network marketing, you're a coach, I'm a coach, like you have your own approach, I have my own approach, and like it just works.
I love that. Such a good point. Yeah. Great conversation.
Okay, y'all. So you got to like those 3 things. Take the quiz because it's going to help you figure out.
Super easy too. It's myname.com/quiz. It's meganyelaney.com/quiz. Pretty simple. And I think, didn't Linda connect us?
Yes.
Yeah. So Linda.
I was in Sabrina's mastermind. And so that's, I think, how I first heard.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
And started following you years ago. And then being in Linda's mixer mind, she's like, you have to connect with Meg. Like, and I was like, I kind of know Meg, but like not really. Like years. We've like talked a little bit because I think we connected on like network marketing and now in coaching. Yeah. And so, and here we are.
I love it. She did the quiz. Like she was the mastermind behind the quiz. I mean, I knew the 4 results and all of that, but such a great person. So I was like, wait, this is so cool. She connected us like, actually to meet. And the second we met, I was like, wait, you're like a long lost friend I've had for so long. This is crazy. We have so much in common. So the quiz is really fun. And it's just like, it helps you. I love taking a good quiz, and it just helps you go, oh yeah, gives you permission. It's like any personality test, gives you permission to lean into your natural abilities and who you are.
Yeah. Validates, give you a little bit more clarity on like, okay, like this is helping. Linda did my quiz as well. So I know that your quiz is great.
I love it.
Awesome. So if you are watching on YouTube, the quiz link will be in the description, and Meg's handles, find her on social media. And then on the podcast, you can look in the show notes. Meg, where can people come listen to you more? You're sharing now. I've been seeing you sharing more of your journey of like, you're having twins. So now you're talking a lot about, how to kind of not pivot in what you're doing, but like adjust, right? For a new season as you like prepare to like become a mom and have both of your hands full. I love that. You're talking more about relationships. We won't get into all of it, but like you've got a story about you and your husband being separated and back together and all of that. So I know people are going to want to come listen and connect with you more. So where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, no, we're doing. So as you said it, I'm like, wow, We got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. Since you're listening to a podcast, or even if you're on YouTube, I'm on there as well. I'm not as frequent, but you can find the podcast through there too. If you search Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur, hashtag Pretty Awkward, that's my podcast is honestly where I put out the best stuff. I just love podcasting. I think I'm speaking to the preaching to the choir. I just think it's the best place to like get kind of unabridged, unhinged in a good way, information without feeling so limited. So that's where I hang out the most. And then Instagram at Megan Yelaney is a good place to connect to.
Perfect. Love it. I love that you're like on my playlist of podcasts. So like when I'm done with someone else's episode, like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I know that voice as I'm like,
yay, that makes me so happy. I love it.
Well, awesome. Well, Meg, thank you so much for being here, for sharing a wealth of knowledge with us, to diving into this topic that you guys might have feel like I've heard this before, but even I got some new light bulb moments of like how I can get even more clear and more specific on it. And then go take the quiz. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
I'm excited to just kind of watch your journey unfold as these twins come and just see how you're adjusting your business and all of that. So thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.